Black and brown creatives, understand me. L.O.S.T Creatives Podcast is here. I am looking for you. L.O.S.T Creatives Podcast. You trying to get it out there? DM me. I will shout out your work. I will drop links to your work. This is free. You don't have to give me a penny. I just want your time and your story, good brother. I just want your time and your story, good sister. We have our platform now. Let's get out there. This is what's up. This is what you need to do. I want your work to be out there, and I'm waiting on you. Tell me a story. Okay, welcome back, everybody, and all of y'all to the L.O.S.T Creatives Podcast. I am your host, Ijlal Abdullah Muhammad, and as always, we about to get into some things. So, yet again, I have another spectacular guest that I'm going to be introducing to you, on the show. I saw this good brother's work, and I mean, I was just like. You know how it is, man. I get taken back by all the creatives that I have the pleasure of speaking with, and you know what I'm saying, his work was right up there with theirs. He's going to get into it. He's going to explain, his journey, his style, everything that I got from it, and everything that I was curious about when I saw. We're going to jump right into it. The good brother gave me his intro, and I always love when creators give me their intro. And sometimes it's a good biopic full, and sometimes it's just straight and to the point. And I'm happy with either one. This good brother was one of those straight to the point introductions. So let me just go ahead, without further ado, and introduce him. Coming from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, please put your hands together for the creative Oronde Kairi, the visual artist. Clap it up. What's going on, good brother?
What's up, brother? How you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? It's Saturday evening. The day's been going well. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm always psyched when I'm able to sit down and interview another creative. Especially when you took out the time in your busy schedule. To sit here and be with me, and be on the podcast. So I'm feeling good, brother. I'm feeling good, man. No complaints. How about yourself?
Same here. Yep. I mean, this is like a good thing that you're doing. I mean, giving people a chance to speak of their own voice, man, is always good.
Thank you. That's what I wanted, and this amongst other things, but I really wanted the opportunity. I wanted to create a platform where, we as Black people had an opportunity to promote our work, speak on our work, free of charge, without it being stifled or suppressed.
Sure.
Because unfortunately we don't have a lot of platforms to do that. We met on Instagram, and that's cool. But, as a lot of our stuff is suppressed with that. And another platforms. So, that's what it was, man. I was just like, I feel that this is necessary. I feel that it's needed. And I'm an author, and I very much love stories, love writing them, love listening to them. So I just feel that, what's better than hearing a creative's journey, in a story format, right? We break it up into 3 different chapters. So far so good. The guests have been great. The creatives have been wonderful, and just getting into their journey, man, I completely absorb myself in it. Right. And we all share so many things as creatives that are very similar, but we are extremely different. And that's just one of the our ironic and just great things about ourselves. So I'm ready, man. I'm psyched to hear your creative journey. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
So you did respond with the title of your 3 chapters. So we're going to jump right in, man, into chapter 1, which you titled "What Started It All." So go ahead, good brother.
Yeah, that was the main thing. So what started it all? Basically, like, I've always been into creativity since I was little. And that was just big. Watching people, I always was like, man, like just amazed that people can do things that seem kind of like unordinary. And I was trying to figure out what did I have, and figuring that out, the art was the thing that stuck. Where I was like, oh wow, I can do that. Kind of do that by drawing from books. You know how you would get like coloring books, instead of coloring in them, you're trying to draw it. So yeah. So I was like, oh, I kind of had something here. So it wasn't like I wasn't the guy like the teachers like, oh, look at Oronde, he can draw. That was other students, but I was okay with that. I was just like, oh wow, look at that. How do I do? So that was the thing for a long time. And as I became a teenager, going to high schools, trying to figure out high schools, I wanted to go to performing arts, but I didn't have a portfolio or anything like that to get in there. So the closest thing was my high school. I went to William Penn, and I was in the communication magnet program. And I got in there by just luck of being away from North Philly. I was in Mount Airy, and they put all the students that were from different neighborhoods into this program, this communication program. And in the program, through the whole 4 years, we were doing like behind the cameras, learning how to develop film, all those things. It's communications. So basically what you're doing, we were doing that in high school. So I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, man. I want to continue this, but I want to try to develop my art. So it's been like a whole journey of that. And I found in 95, by accident, I ran into Daoud Anyabule, the creator of Brother Man comic book. And he had a class at the headquarters. So that class spark plugged my whole existence and what I'm doing now 30 years later. So yeah, he had an art class in the back, and I was like, that's the class, man. I said, I'm going to college for this. Then I asked him, I said, do you know any colleges that you can go to for art? He was like, well, you got to do your research. And this was before social media, so research was like, I'm not going to the library to figure this out. What I figured out was the Art Institute commercial. They used to always run the commercial. Hey man, Art Institute accepting. So I went to the Art Institute for 2 years.
Okay.
For animation. And the whole reason I was in animation was because I thought that cartooning would be the simplest thing for my skills at that point, which was no, boy, oh boy. Like you have to be, you got to really know how to draw and all this. So I'm thinking,
you do.
Yeah. And it was a 2-year course. And you mean to tell me after 2 years in one, not even the summer, like a few months with Daoud's class, I'm ready to hang with the big boys? No, I don't think so. So I kept searching, and then that's when I transferred over to the University of Arts. I never graduated from the Art Institute. Okay. I had like a quarter to go, and you would get associates, but it didn't even matter to me because I knew I was going to continue. So with that helped me build a portfolio to get into the University of Arts, because at University of the Arts, you had to audition to get in. So that kind of was like going to performing arts, because that was the same thing you needed at performing arts. You had to perform, or whatever. For artists, you had to show up.
You had to audition. Yeah.
So I built the portfolio, and I got in. I was like, oh, great. So it was just a decision of illustration and painting. I wanted to be a painter. The painter that I am now, I wanted to be that when I went into the University of Arts. But the decision making to take illustration opposed to the painting department was like too loose. It wasn't a structured class. So I didn't figure. I said, well, how am I going to grow if I just be in classes where they just letting you do anything you want to do? Like, where's the teaching in that? And that's how my mom was thinking like that back then. And illustration downstairs, they had this they had a showroom, and they would have the students work all over the floor, and the work was so incredible. I was like, oh, they must teach you how to do that on this floor. Right? So that's what I want to do. I'm gonna take illustration because the painting department don't really look like it's legit. And come to find out, they don't really, because now that I know, they don't really have time to teach every student, like, you're gonna learn how to paint, you're gonna learn how to do this. They basically just teaching you illustration. They teaching you how to illustrate, which was cool because we had different illustrators would come in and I would see all his work. So it was like, now we have social media and we could just go online and look. But back then, I was getting it direct. Like, you had Tim O'Brien, and I had to find, like, who's Tim O'Brien? You knew about time that semester was over because you seen a body of his work. We had our own little museum, illustration museum, where you had like 30, 40 pieces of this person's work. And then they would come and they would do like me and you doing now. They would come and tell they spill on how they got to where they got to. So it was a bunch of that. So like I said, that was really the beginning, man. Like I said, the beginning for me was really just trying to learn how to develop my art skills. And I said I'll figure it out once I get out, and that's basically what I did. Yep.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, it's funny, right? Because when we're starting out, especially, we're young, we don't know who we are, internally, and then on top of that, we're trying to figure out what we want to do,
Yeah.
So it's the beginning is always interesting, but regardless of the how we're in search, there always is a creative constant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, I may go left, or I may go right, or I may go straight, but I know wherever it's leading me, it's going to, at the end, I'm going to hit my creative niche. And, you know what I'm saying?
That's 100%, man, because I was like that the whole journey of the program, the 4-year program there, where learning how things go, and then in retrospective, oh, that's what that was about. That's what illustration. Oh, okay, I can kind of get with that. I might not want to do it, but if I develop a certain amount of skills, I can see going back and doing that. But now, you know what I mean? But right now, now I'm just flowing. I don't know, man. It'll hit, and that's what happened.
And that's how it happens. You mentioned something that it resonated with me immediately. Excuse me. When you said how you thought I should get into animation, and then you found out like that's not it.
I would love, because man, that whole my whole experience with the art, like going to University of Arts, going to Art Institute, I was so open, man, because it was fun. And it was just like William Penn in high school, where you're getting thrown into these things by accident, and you're like, yo, this is really good training, but I don't know about communication. Why am I even here? I said, that's a shame they let us in. But imagine if you had something, you can really make something happen with this. So Art Institute was the same way. We was like, oh man, we doing these cartoons. We'll be in production class and it would just be fun. But it would be such a struggle because you just didn't have the skill. And you're trying to get the skill. But some people were acting like they had the skill, which they did. Some people that had it, I was like, man, if I was them, I would love to go to an animation studio and present my portfolio. I was in MTV Animation had a internship program for us. And
okay.
I remember being in the office with the lady looking at my portfolio, and she was nice because she was like, "Oh, this is good. You probably can do this and that." And I was just in there cringing because I was like, "This is not even good work." But I'm here, like I'm here, I'm presenting it, and she's being nice. She's not really crushing my spirits, and that's good. I can deal with that. But truthfully, on my own, I just know that I'm not that person right now. I will be maybe later on down the road, but not now.
But not now, yeah. Yeah, and it's very important, especially as creatives, that we're saying, like, I like what you're saying when you're saying like not now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not saying I'm not that person, period. It's like, no, I'm not that person right now.
Right.
Not yet. Because, that's why I say tell your story from beginning to present.
Yeah.
Right? Not from beginning to end, because it ain't in yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what you like doing right now. You know what you're really passionate about right now, and you're doing it, and that's what's up. But like I was creative, I was interviewing last weekend. Erica Dunlap, she's a very well established photographer, and she just got into painting. Well, she's been painting for a year.
Sure.
And looking at her painting, you would never think she was just doing this for 1 year. Sure. You would think she'd been doing it for a minute. Sure. But that's how it was. It's just like, yo, look, I mean, yeah, I've created a name for myself. I spent a lot of years, got experience in photography, but I'm painting now. I'm going to be designing clothes next. So it's just, that we always find ourselves feeding that creative spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it can lead us not just forward, but it could also lead us back to a road that we left. And that's one of the great things. I remember I was working at this place where overnight I was tech support.
Yeah.
They were building websites. Anyway, so I'm helping the guy with his website, and he had all these ads. Like, his website was just a site of ads. It was the craziest thing. And I had asked him, I said, what do you have all these ads up here for? Like, this is not what the space is usually used for, And he said, well, I'm getting paid $600 a week for that one. I'm getting paid $200 a week for that one. I mean,
yeah.
And I'm like, are you serious? By the time he finished, this dude is making like 15 G's a month just off of these ads.
Yeah.
And I said, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. Right.
Yeah.
But then, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, well, I don't want to necessarily do it like he was doing it, because he already had people coming to him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, all right, I need to create a website that'll drive traffic, and then once I'm driving traffic, then I'll have companies wanting to pay me for ad space.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, what I make a website of? What can I do? Well, I'm an artist. I could draw something, and I said, well, no, it's got to be something better than that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got an idea. I was like, okay, you know what? I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come up with like a animation series.
Yeah.
And I'll drop an episode at once every Friday or every Sunday or every Monday, whatever. Mm-hmm. And that'll drive people to my site. And then that'll get the ads. And then I'll be getting paid.
Yeah.
So the fuel behind it was solely to just have advertisement.
Right.
And then I thought about the story, right? I thought about the story. Came up with this really cool story. And then I started to study animation. Then I started to, I was like, okay, well, let me get myself involved with this, that, and the third. Interestingly enough, I had went to Art Institute online.
Okay, yeah.
Online. So it wasn't Philadelphia Art Institute. I think it was Pittsburgh Art Institute online, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I my major was graphic art and design.
Yep.
Right, because I was trying to learn how to become an animator.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I got finances got a little tight, so I couldn't complete. But before that, I was like, yo, this is a lot. Especially when I got into 3D design. I was like, oh my goodness.
Joke, man.
And so I said, but this story is so dope. I can't just leave it just because I'm not going to necessarily finish with animation.
Yeah.
So then I was like, graphic novel.
There you go.
I don't need to learn animation for that.
Yeah.
I already know how to illustrate, so I'm just going to change. I'm going to
change the format.
Change the format to a graphic novel format. I completed the first book. I never got around to no, correction. I have found out that it's going to be very time consuming if I'm doing the illustration, if I'm doing the coloring.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh man. So anyway, at that time in my life, I dropped it.
Yeah.
And time moved on. But it's still on the back burner. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an author. I say I'm an author now.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I was then, right? Because I wrote this graphic novel.
True.
But more in the traditional sense, not necessarily as a graphic novel. And I already have my volume 1 published. I'm working on volume 2, and then I have an actual another novel, a book of 3 that I'm looking to get a literary agent for. I don't have time to jump back into it, but it's still on the back burner. And I very much am going to. I'm going to go back to it at some point. I don't know when, because the storyline is dope, and that's the thing. What I do know, and I'm sure you can attest to this.
Yeah.
And what I do know is the more I do creatively, when I go back to it, I can reimagine it in a completely different way.
Man, you already know.
And it'll probably be hitting even harder now because of the experience that I've gained since then. So good brother. Who knows, man? You may be, we may see that animation at some point.
Said you never know. That's the whole thing about it. It's like skills is everything, right? Imagination is abundant, right? Because we got so much. I want to do this, I want to do that, but really trying to put it together is a whole nother story. So, and put it together the right way is just timing and practice. A lot of people want to give you praise on how good you are, what they see what you're doing now, but that journey, man, I don't know how many people are ready to go on that journey with you. You know what I'm saying?
You better believe it.
Yeah. So
you better believe it.
Come on, man.
That's an excellent transition into chapter 2, which you titled the breakthrough. So let's go ahead and jump into that.
So like I was saying in the email, I was saying the breakthrough for me, because I don't really think my breakthrough was anything about getting a job or for a fancy company or being in a museum, because I know people had those kind of dreams and they get distraught if they don't come true, but that's something else. But it just was never my thing. My thing was always like, man, how much of a waste was this going to be if I came to this school to learn one particular thing, but if I come out of here and not have it, so it's such a waste because I still got to go find it. So what happened was I wanted to learn how to paint, and one of my teachers, they was doing like independent studies. A student was doing an independent study, and I was like, "What's an independent study?" They was like, "You can take a class with one of the teachers and do what you want to do. You can make the curriculum up yourself." And they help you. I said, really? I said, well, I can learn how to paint. I can get Mark to teach me how to paint. So I just asked him, I said, hey, Mark, man. He's like, what, Oronde? I said, can you do an independent study with me? He was like, yeah. I said, you can? He was like, yeah. He said, what you want to do? I'm glad you asked. I said, I want to learn how to oil paint. He was like, all right, well, write it up. Write out the plan and we'll do it. I was like, that's all it was. I was like, oh shit. So that was my curriculum, was to learn how to oil paint. And the thing was funny because I was waiting for him to sit down with me, like, this is how you take the paint out, and you go this color, right? So I'm going, like, damn, when is he going to come show me how to paint? What's up? He was like, dude, go sit down and paint, and I'll be over there. I was like, oh, all right. So I played with oil a little bit. You know how you buy like all the supplies, like use this. Wait, I'm gonna mess them up with this right here. So I bought oil, and I just started playing with it, and the way it was moving, you know, the medium was moving around. I was like, oh, this feel kind of nice, man. It's like you kind of like pushing clay together, something, but you know, I didn't know nothing about breaking down the colors or values, anything like that, but the material just felt nice. And I said, well, here we go. So I just started practicing with that, and I would show him, and I was like, okay, with the class. Then he was like, all right. So it took him a minute, man. I was like, yo, what kind of class is this? So one day I had enough information for him to say, okay, cool, good. All right, move. Let me show you this. He said, that's a good start. He said, how you like this? I said, I like it, man. It's nice. I like how the medium moves. It feels kind of smooth, and it don't dry on you and all this stuff. He's like, okay, cool. So he just started painting over my painting, and it started becoming like this thing. And I was like, man, this is nice. But how am I going to be able to duplicate this? This is a badass painting right here. But now it's like, I got to keep doing that. This is exactly what I want, but I got to keep doing it. I don't really know if I'm comprehending, you know? I see what he's doing. I'm watching him fix my painting, and but I'm like, this is it. But I just gotta keep going and practicing. So the painting begun, the whole painting process begun, and the person that I'm becoming started 20 years ago off of that painting with Mark. And
nice.
I had to graduate from out of there. I didn't have no paintings in my portfolio. It didn't matter. What I realized with the portfolio was they just wanted you to have like 12 consistent pieces to get up out of there. So I had like 12 good drawings. My drawings was kind of like, they were smooth. They was all value drawings, and they were all rendered really well. So I had consistent work. It wasn't the work that I wanted to do, but it was consistent to get me out of there. From there, once again, I called on another teacher, Phil Singer, who's a painter. And I was like, Phil can paint. I wonder if Phil would give me a one-on-one class. So I'm like, Phil, do you do one-on-ones? He was like, no. He said, it wouldn't make, he said, so many people ask me. He said, it just wouldn't make sense because of the money, just trying to show one person. If I had like a group of you guys, like 12 or 20 people, it would make financial sense. But he said, you know what you should do? He said, do what I did. He said, my mentor is Marvin Madelson from New York, at SVA. SVA is basically University of the Arts, but it's in New York. So SVA.
Yeah, I'm familiar with SVA.
Yeah, so it's the same thing, but over there. So
okay.
I went to that class. Marvin Madelson had a figurative painting class, representational figure painting. And boy, oh boy, that first day of that class, man, was like, what? I could have been with him for 4 years. I would have been like, great. I was like, man, I would have got this so much faster. He was just breaking everything down, and he wasn't making it feel complicated. He was doing like this immaculate thing, but you could see that you could get it because he was showing you how to do it. Now you're gonna need some practice, of course, but you could see it was doable. Oh, this is like crazy, man. And every Friday I would go up to New York. It was freezing cold too. I had like buying the face mask from off the stands because you don't know how cold it was going to be sometimes. Like, give me that. And I got the face thing going before the kids now that's doing it for the
oh yeah.
I was that guy, but it was cold. But So I was doing that, and I'll come right back home. But Marvin had got sick, and we had his student had to teach the rest of the class. And I was like, damn, man, like you said, I was like, dag, because how Marvin was teaching it, he would talk you to death. And it was at a point I was like, Marv, I said, what's going to happen if I forget something? And he said, well, I just say it again until you understand. I said, that's what I want to hear.
There it is.
It wasn't like a bother. Because he loved to talk, and he would talk and draw at the same time, and it was just like, wow, this is great. But like I said, he got sick, so we missed a good 3 or 4 classes with him, and he brought his apprentice, which was cool, but it wasn't him. But he did come back at the end, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. So I took that class, and then it was a book that Daoud told me about, with Samuel Ethan's Painting Made Simple, and he was talking like in layman terms. And I think I took that book. I had that book before I took the class with Marvin, and I realized that Marvin was kind of talking more sophisticated in the art language, but Ethan's book was more layman terms. But it was the same thing. And I said, well, I can really learn the rest from this book. And that's what I did. I started learning from the book. And then I wanted to go back to New York. But I was like, oh man, this is like $1,500 for one class. And I got to go back up there. I found a place, Sutdio. It's called like Sutdio Caminati, I believe. It was in Philly, and Nelson Shanks was the teacher. Now he wasn't a teacher, but he built the course. Okay, and I can go to those classes on Thursday, and it was right around the way. So I did that, and just really start, developing my skills from that too. So, like I said, my whole deal was just like finding classes. Like you could do stuff from books, and it wasn't so much online courses back then, even though that was only like a few years ago. Well, not really even a few years ago, because it's almost like 20 years later, right? Like 2020 is like 2024, 25. 205 I was doing stuff like that, but that was just my journey, man, just trying to find places so I can go and go learn how to do painting. And that's pretty much how that went. As far as making money, I was always able to make money doing fairs, art fairs, and I had the websites back in the day too, like selling your stuff online in the early 2000s was way easier than selling your stuff online now.
Because it's flooded.
Yeah. So you had a website back in 2005, boy, you was kicking.
You was the man. If you had a website.
Yup. So I was doing that, and the traveling shows. So I was finding out, like, okay, this could be a good career. I could do like get prints made and just sell prints. I'm cool with that. So I started doing that, and those kind of shows, they fun to today. They still fun. They wear you out, but it's a good wear out because people are really interested in what you're doing. And you talk a lot, and it's just so everybody is excited. They're excited about you. You excited about them being excited about you. So that's kind of what I do now. Just try to get the work out there some kind of way, Yeah.
Look, that what would you say? When did you find, as you discovered, you painting, and you, after all these classes and all these different teachers, and even yourself teaching, when did you realize, like, you know what, this is my signature. You know what I mean? This is my style. This is me. This is how I like to paint. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Um, is the style like? Is it mannerism?
That's funny. It's you had to come up with something, right? It's like you had to say. I know.
Well. Okay. So my bad.
No. That's good. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying when people ask me that is, I'm answering that question, but I'm just laughing at it is because it's like, well, you have to give them something, but technically, it's just like you want to do what you want to do. So sometimes it may be stylistic, sometimes it may be realism, but
Right.
to answer it for people, when you have enough of it that's consistent and looks like the same thing, like if I bring like a whole bunch of stylized images, I call it like stylistic realism. It's usually like kind of what you're looking at now of what I'm doing. So before that, when I had all the drawings, it was just kind of like realism. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
And that wasn't like, oh, this is my style. It was just like, I'm trying to really focus on getting good work out here. So myself, that meant doing like a rendered picture or something.
Okay.
So then, like I always liked graffiti, and I still do. Like
so do I.
Just looking at it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I always loved that, especially being a kid from the 80s, because it was just always around us.
It was always around, yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So we had cartoons and we had graffiti in real time.
Yeah.
And I just like always was interested in that. So when I started painting, getting familiar with paint, I was like, well, let me try some of that stuff that I used to like back in the day. It just so happened that it kind of, okay, this is it. Oh, this is nice. This is kind of nice right here. So I'm gonna stay on this for a minute. And like the exaggeration and the stylistic stuff is kind of me just imitating that. The little boy that used to look at the graffiti on the walls. But these guys, some of them had anatomy skills and some of them just didn't. So my idea was like, hey, if I do this, now I got all this training, these anatomy classes and this. Let me put it to work, right? Like let me put it to work and come up with some images. So that's kind of like, to answer your question, that's how the style of my work resonates off of that. You know what I mean? Like Ernie Barnes, Jack Davis, Fred Flintstone, and just like all that stuff, like liking realistic art, like having an art museum in your back door, but not, you're looking at it like, that's the art museum. You know what I mean? So, but you're in there and it's just seemed like so far-fetched to even be able to do something like that. Where it was like you kind of taking it for granted. But then as I started developing my skills, I'm like, oh, so I can do that. Kind of like there's stuff I see in the art museum and the stuff that I seen on the art museum that's brought now on the subway. You know what I mean? So,
you're right.
And combined it,
right.
And nobody know my secret. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If hey, that's his style, but it's just my environment and my, two things I've been looking at, and you kind of put it together, So that's when they say like, who inspires you? It's not necessarily even one artist. It's just like a whole bunch of just that energy from back then, and just being good enough to be able to kind of replicate it, So
that's a dope. Thank you. Thank you, Oronde, for that breakdown, man. Because and for the correction, because you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
When I think about writing, I forget remember who I was explaining this to. But one of the stories in my book, Lost, it's called The Mermaid's Tale.
Right.
And how I came up with this story, believe it or not, it initially all started from a line that I heard in a movie.
Yeah.
Now, bust it. The story really has nothing to do with the line in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It really didn't. It's just the fact that I don't know, for some reason that line just resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you the movie. You remember you probably you said you was a kid in the 80s, so you're probably around my age. You remember Vampire in Brooklyn, Eddie Murphy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I always use that as the
so there was this scene where he was like he was trying to get Angela Bassett to drink blood, right?
Yeah.
So she can become like a full vampire and everything.
Uh-huh.
And she was hesitant, she didn't want to do it, whatever. Anyway, long story short, he said, we must feed or we die.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And I was a kid when I saw that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But that line just stuck in my head. I don't know why it seemed real powerful to me. There've been much greater movie lines in cinema history. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, I never forgot that line. Wow. And I guess the creative in me was just like dormant. Yeah. It was like, what? At some point, there's going to be a reason for you to use this line creatively, Yeah. And straight up, when I was writing, and I was thinking about, okay, how am I going to start? That line came.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, that's great. Now, how do I build a world around this or whatever? And then, the rest is history. Mm-hmm. But it's just, it's amazing. And that's why we, as creatives, there's nobody like us, man. You know what I mean? Where our uniqueness is unbelievable. We can pull from so many things, things that
people not looking at.
People not looking at, and then in addition to that, things that we're not even looking at. Like we stumble upon stuff, you know, but when it hits hard.
That's true.
And then next thing you know, we can take that one little thing and it could become the new series of paintings or the new series of stories for us or the new series of whatever, and just offer something. So, yes, we do have people who are huge inspirations.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can you not? But that I very much agree with you, and I'm so glad that you said that it's just like how we, where we get our style from or our thing from is just mainly it's us just being creatives in the world and just being. You remember Tap? You remember movie Tap with Gregory Hines?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You remember when they went out to the streets and he was like, everybody wanted to know where my father got his who he stole his steps from, right? And he said that he didn't steal the steps from anybody. He would just go out to the street and just listen, right? And then that's when that whole dance routine had came up, and he's there was like a car going over a sewer drain, and he was like, "You hear that?" And no one heard it, and he said, "You hear that sewer drain?" And he was like, "Okay, so I don't know what you hear, but what I hear is ba-dee-ah, ba-dee-ah," and then he did the step.
That's really, and it was sounds like Shay, but that's really for real, because especially as an artist, you know how people say like artist block, and I don't really believe in that, because I just believe like everything around you, especially as a creative, is something interesting.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And this is up to you to tap in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we look at people every day, and as an artist, you like, that's interesting, man. They can't look too long because you might get sucker punched, right? So you gotta be like, you gotta be fast with it, right? So it's put it in your mind and remember. Or now with the cell phones, but even with that, you gotta be slick because once again you don't want to get jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you gotta take information. You know what I mean? You gotta know how to take information and remember it and utilize it some way.
Yeah.
Now you might put that in your painting. You might put that in your writing. Like the words you said. Somebody might say a word. You're like, well, that can go right here.
Mm-hmm.
But not even thinking about it. But as you write and you like, oh, what? So I might see somebody and I'm like, oh, it's fancy sneakers, or this person was walking like this, or they was looking like this way. And I just had the ability to put it in the work. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you gotta stay open, baby. You gotta be aware. You know what I mean? Because art is just all around you. Anything artistic, you know what I mean? Visual, writing, music. You're just taking things. And you just like regurgitating them onto your whatever your platform is.
Mm-hmm.
People like, oh, that's so. It's like, yeah, I guess, and it is because it is. But it's, I mean, to us, we just like, well, it was right in front of your face.
Yep.
I just had to show it to you.
Yep. I remember when I was in elementary, people always thought I was a better artist than I thought I was.
Sure.
And a lot of it is because, I guess a lot of it is because it's like, I just drew it, man. It's like woo to you, but
That's what you're doing.
And one of the things that I could never understand, and I still don't understand it, like, but it works better with me now, but I still don't fully understand why. Is, usually when you're a kid, unless you're super creative, like DeMar Douglas, who shouted you out, by the way. Yeah. For the most part, we realize that we have talent because of something. We can draw the Ninja Turtles. You know what I'm saying? Or we can color this thing real dope or whatever, right? But it's usually some form of imitation initially. You know what I'm saying? And what I could never understand is, I don't understand. I just drew what I saw. Why can't you do it? It's just like, I don't get it. Just draw what you see. But
yeah, because even that, it's so many. I mean, that's the thing too with art. It's so many different skill sets and talents delivered to artists. Because some people can do that. Some people can look at stuff like, that's me. It's like basically looking at things, but making it seem like I'm not. But then you have other people that can recall and just come out from their heads and just do all this amazing things. But everybody talent, not the same talent. You know what I mean? So that's a thing too. And you have a lot of artists stumble because they think if they talent not like the person that they see, then they don't have the talent. But that's not it. That's just not your talent. You know what I mean?
Your talent.
You just got to find what makes you. How do you create your art?
How do you create your art? Yeah.
Like Quincy Jones can get the band together, and Kanye can get the crates. He got digging the crates, but it's still good music.
It's still good music.
Yeah.
I was speaking. I was interviewing another creative, Sharita at Ink Beautiful.
Yeah.
She's an AI artist.
Right.
And one of the things that she said that she runs into that really bothers her is that people don't view her as an artist.
Right.
And I was just like, look, let me tell you something, good sister. I saw your work, and there was a reason why I wanted to speak with you. There's no way in the world you're going to tell me that you were not an artist. This is not just you said something and the computer generated. Right. I'm looking at your work. There was more here. Come to find out, she said that she can't draw to save her life. Just can't do it. Yeah. Can't draw to save her life. If you paid her, she couldn't do it.
Right.
She tried it over and over and couldn't. But what she was saying, and it would bother her because she had all these concepts in her head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, but she just couldn't bring it out with her fingers.
Sure.
And then she found AI years later.
Monster, right?
And then now she's able to all these things that she's always had in her mind for all these years. Now she's able to create them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was just like, but check it out. She also educated herself and schooled herself very well in Photoshop. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I said, everything that we do, we write, we paint, sing, compose, whatever.
Yeah.
It all starts from a concept.
Absolutely.
And not everybody has that conceptual ability.
That's true.
You know, you have, and it's two parts, right?
Yeah.
You have people who have no imagination whatsoever. But if you tell them what you want, they can create it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a creative.
Yeah.
Now, if you have no imagination whatsoever, but I tell you what I want, and then you paint this masterpiece, well, everybody will say you're creative. Oh, you're creative. Great.
Yeah.
But if I can't paint the masterpiece, but I can conceptualize something awful, how am I not a creative?
That's the truth, man. So
you dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like
find your lane.
Find your lane, man. That right there is a wonderful transition into chapter 3, which you titled "The Possibilities."
Yeah, because that's the thing. I was looking at how you wrote like chapter 3, like what's the possibilities of, like, not really what's the possibilities, like where you trying to go now. And I was just thinking about that. I was like, well, my whole journey is really about the possibilities. Like like I told you in the beginning, I never got into art school because I wanted to get a job at Disney, or I wanted to get like these any kind of job doing a comic book or a museum. My whole thing was almost like let's see what I have so I can see where I want to go. You know what I mean? I'll let tell me where I want to go. Because my whole thing is, if the work is garbage, I'm gonna do nothing with it. But now that I'm seeing it, like, okay, this is good. So now I can set up a show around this. I could find a place and I can have this kind of show. I can do this. I can present my work to a gallery because I got consistent. I know what they want. So now I know how to build a consistent body of work. But it's not like that's why I was doing it in the first place. Like, into this gallery to represent me. It's just like, well, okay, man. You can build your future. I like that. I like the idea of that. I like, well, some people gotta go. You can go try to get a 9-to-5 or anything, because that's what we doing, right? Take care of ourselves, trying to figure out a way to get money. So I'm saying, well, Dad, not only can I get money, but I can do something creative to have fun doing it. So that's what I mean about the possibilities. To me, it's just about, you can build your own possibility. I was listening to Paul McCartney say, he would tell John Lennon, him and John Lennon would say, I need a car. Let's write a car. You know what I mean? Like, so they're going to make a song that's going to get them a car. You know what I mean? And that's how they would think. Like,
nice.
I need a house. Let's write a house.
Let's write a house. I want
to hold your hand. I got a house. All this money coming in. You know what I mean? So it's like, my thing is kind of like that too. It's like, dude, I want to do a big gallery show. There's plenty of galleries now where you can present, but having the right skills makes it a little easier, where they're more accepting. And say, yeah, you can do that here. So it's like, that's how I think, like, well, I want to do a body of work for this show. It's going to be around this theme, and it's going to be 12 of them. It's going to be 13 of them. And she's going to see what's going to happen. So like my show, Legendary Stature, that I did in April, was built on that. Like Brasswork Gallery, Robin, the curator, I had known her from Instagram, and I was doing little shows here and there with them. But then she gave me the opportunity to do a solo show. I had like 12 pieces on a burner already. I didn't build. I had the basketball series, and I said, "Oh, it's something there. It's a body of work there. Ooh, I'm gonna call it legendary stature." It wasn't me building a legendary stature. I just had legendary stature. It was ready to go. Right? You know what I mean? It's ready to go. So that's how I roll, man. That's what it's about for me. And the opportunity, the possibilities to do something. I think that's the cool thing we have as artists. Yeah.
That is, it's like our brains never shut off, right?
Right.
When you said you can build your future,
right,
instantly I'm like, oh man, how do I
you gotta get to writing them books.
It was like, no, for real. Like I wasn't even thinking about writing it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that would be an ill painting. How do I visualize that? Like,
right.
It's crazy, and it's one of the I forgot who I was speaking with, but it's one of the Erica Dunlap. That's who I was speaking with. It's one of the great things and one of the worst things, because it's like sometimes, man, especially when I'm trying to get sleep, like I can't shut it off.
Yeah,
I can't shut it off, man. Like especially if I get going.
Yeah.
How many times I had to be like, all right, I had to literally like tell myself just stop thinking about things, just stop. Or I wake up in the middle of the night. Oh snap! Let me write that down. I'm write that down. That's a great idea. That would be a cool character. Let me write that down. I could be talking to my wife. Well, rather, she could be talking to me, and I'm nodding my head, and I'm thinking about, okay, how do I write that sequence out?
Yeah,
and so, and I got to bring myself back. It's just, it's amazing, man, and that's what just makes our, you can retire from basketball. You can retire from teaching.
Yeah,
you can retire from the military. You can't retire from being a creator. You can't. Like, how do you do it? You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? How many times Kiss in all these groups like, oh, this the retirement tour. This the retirement this. It's like what for 2024?
Right.
It's a little break.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or for their case when they just can't do it no more. But you don't retire from this, man, and that's the beauty of it to me. It's
really, like, it is, man.
You always creating, like you said, you always creating in your head. Like you always painting in your head. You always writing. For instance, like the Sweet Prince of the Ghetto painting that I just did. That thing has been sitting in my head for a minute, but it was just like you talking about, how you going to make it happen, and then it was just a matter of like, oh man, I got the right reference, I can get the model. You talking about AI? Now you can build models where you used to have to hire somebody to sit, or you sit for yourself.
Yeah,
but it's just like, I need a guy sitting down. And there it is. And next thing you know, you're putting this whole piece together because you got everything you need in front of you. So it's just like learning how to use these tools for your benefit.
Yeah. I actually was going to go into. I wanted you to actually do what you just did, which was speak about some of your work, and I picked 3 of my favorites.
Okay.
Sweet Prince of the Ghetto was number 1.
Wow.
You already expressed that. I mean, I loved everything about it. I loved everything about it. I loved Jimmy Walker. You know what I mean? I love the Marvin Gaye painting. The fact that he was painting, everything. Something I keep saying, and I'll continue to say it. There's first the visual effect, but then right after the visual effect for me is the concept. That's the
thing, right, man? Because it's like you got the idea, but it's like how I pull all this stuff off.
Mm.
And with that one, it's like I said, man, you know, artists, we can be lazy,
Yeah.
or we can be like not really wanting to go do what we need to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to be fast,
Yeah.
and just have it, but it won't. Sometimes you being fast don't make it the best. And
no, it really.
The thing with social media, you want to post something real fast, and
Yep.
But with this one, you know, I was like, man, look, I'm gonna do everything that I know the illustration department taught me, right? And I'm just gonna do the right thing, right?
Do the right thing. Yep.
Right?
Do the right.
So I'm just going to do the right thing and do an illustration and I understand it. Like understand concepts. I understand how it works, how you put the piece together. I'm just going to do it. And that's what I did. And it came out great. You know what I mean? So
yes, it did.
I was like, man, look, I don't want to you can just get a picture of Jimmy Walker and you can say, good times. Right? And everybody's going to eat that up. Or I can put him in the situation where I always wanted to see him. And you know how it is. It's like you watch Good Times and you always see this department/studio.
Yep.
You see them paintings like L.O.S.T Creative. You know, what's that thing? What's he painting back there? And you never really quite see it, but you want to see him sit down and do something. So it's like, yo, I'm gonna make him painting. And I had him painting I was like, the obvious is to do Sugar Shack, right? But
yeah,
I was like, I don't want to be so obvious, right? So I would show Daoud the sketch, and he was like, "Duh, man." He said, you should put the painting in there."
Yes.
I was thinking about that, but that's like too obvious. He was like, all right. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts. So then, like, I'll put the Rising, the basketball one in there first. And I'm like, we get in there, but no effort, man. Just go ahead and put Sugar Shack in there.
Put Sugar Shack in there, man. Yeah.
I don't know, because, you know, I had Sugar Shack in my room.
Okay.
That painting looks too big to put in that little spot. In the position I got to do it, I don't know if it's going to make sense. Right. I tried it. I was like, oh, it works. It kind of works, man. This little perspective thing here kind of works. And it don't have to be exactly every single thing, but you just got to get it. That's
right.
It.
You don't got to be symmetrically correct. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So once I got that in my head and I started looking, I was like, yeah, this is it, baby. I said, now I got to paint the damn thing. And I don't know. But man, you just plow through. You plow through, and even the background of the living room, I couldn't find a reference for that. Even though, you know, we got the TV show, so you have your you got the reference. But it's just like putting it together, because, you know, we get so literal. And I was looking at stuff, I was like, but it's too much clutter on the coffee table right here. I can't use that. Or it's that window, I don't know, man, it's not going to read. Well, I just crossed my fingers. I said, you know what? You don't got to add everything. You don't have to add everything. You just got to get it to where it's believable. And that's what happened, man. So I was like, oh, this works. This kind of works. And once I really did it, I was like, okay, they get it. This works, man. But our brain just works like, man, it has to be so literal. That coffee pot got to be one. It's like, no, it don't. You just got to get close. And it worked, man. That's like, yeah, I'm an illustrator. You know what I mean?
You know, with you gave the best explanation of a piece of work that you've done out of everybody that I've spoken with.
Okay.
In my opinion, my opinion, I think what made it stand out for me is because you didn't just explain, you know, the place you were coming from mentally at the time, or you know, the feeling or whatever, which is great, and I love to hear that, and I want to hear that.
Yeah.
you explained all. What I like to say is you explain what's happening between the pages.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you explained that creative part, where like you're trying to fit this in, but it's like, come on, man, you don't need to do that. And it's like, and I'm just sitting there listening to it. And I'm like, man, that's it. That's what's happening. That's what we go through. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yep.
But I mean, it's like it's one of the I was speaking with Echo Freaky.
Okay.
Excellent painter. The way his understanding of colors and breaking them up, I haven't seen or heard anyone else break it down and do it the way he does it. You should check him out, Echo Freaky, on Instagram. Okay, I saw one thing of his and I was like, my mind was blown. And then when he explained himself, I believe that was, I think it's episode 6 or 7. I interviewed him. Anyway, when he explained it, I was like, oh, my mind was blown. How he saw it. Anyway, wow, I forgot why I brought the brother up. But still, no, I'm happy to mention him. I just thought that his understanding of color and how he breaks it down is superb, and I haven't seen paintings anywhere like his before,
right?
And that a lot has to do with how he sees stuff. I was very impressed with his understanding, but yeah, man, I mean, it's just what we go through that we are putting ourselves through. No one else is putting the pressure on us. We are putting ourselves through it, but it's like this is what it is. It's a part of the creative process, and it's thank you. It is so worth it.
It's worth it to put
yourself through something. So worth it. Yeah. It's frustrating, it's irritating, but in the end,
right. It means you're thinking instead of just, putting something together just because.
Right. Like, right. Like I love when you said that you you know what, I'm just gonna do the right thing.
Yeah, it's the right thing, man. Do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Go do the homework, right? Go do the research. Put it together. Put the puzzle together, man. And don't try to fake it. Right? Don't try to just fake it and say like hey man, because it's gonna be hot. Like it's JJ. So people going just off of JJ alone, they going to dig it. Or you know what I mean? Or whatever it is in this case, just for the sake of that painting, or John Amos, he passed away. Now you're making a John Amos piece. But if there's nothing behind it, it's just that you want to get the attention to say, got the piece up for my man passed away.
Right.
People think
right.
But
definitely. And I'm gonna tell you
a lot of the stuff.
I'm glad that you, for the sake of how that painting turned out, I'm so glad you chose to do it right. Yeah. Because we all would have missed out on it if you half stepped it. Yeah. But that's what's up. I want to go right now into the segment, where I ask the generic questions that I asked all the creatives, starting with number 1. Do you consider yourself a creative?
Sure. I mean, if it wasn't art, and even if I wasn't presenting it to the public, I'll be creative, but that's just how I operate. You know what I mean? That's just what I like to do. Like I said from the beginning, man, I just like creative people and creative things like toys. That's a creative thing. Somebody had to build that. You know what I mean? Television. I used to be, like Robert Townsend said, he used to call him TV man. I used to be that. I used to be in the TV. You know what I mean? The show happening, I'm there. I'm inside of that.
Fully committed.
Right. Committed. Right. Music, man, it's just like you just love it. It's just that energy, man. It's that escapism and all these things, man. Basketball, watching Doc Dunk, and
Mm.
going to the games and the crowd just going crazy. Like, this is like so fun to me, being in the atmosphere with all this creativity. I got a chance to go to the David Letterman show.
Okay.
I was going to New York with my portfolio, and we just happened to be walking down Broadway. And the guy was like, "You want some tickets?" I was like, "To the show." He said, "All you gotta do is just come in and just, when at 4 o'clock, just be here." So we got a chance to go in there, and it was just like, from watching it on TV to being there, it was just like a rush. Like, oh wow, this is like cool, man. This is my element. You know what I mean? So I just like creative things like that. And then to be able to create and paint or draw, it's almost like I wished it. I was like, well, you asked for something, so this is what I gave you. I'm trying to show you had something. This is what it is. You ain't gonna be singing, you ain't gonna be dancing, you're gonna be making these pictures. So take it. You know what I mean? Take it and do something. What you do, that's what you're gonna be doing.
That's what's up. I think I just remembered what I was trying to say about the artist Echo Freaky. He said when we were speaking that this was the first time that he was actually able to have a real conversation, because it was his first time actually being able to speak with another creative who understood what he goes through, who could understand when he was breaking down how he see colors, and and it resonate with him, and and that's what it is. That's one of the other reasons why I love doing this show, and one of the reasons why I wanted to create it is because we feed off of each other.
I understood that right away when I
know what I'm saying?
When I seen your request, and then I looked to see what you was about. I said, yeah, that's the move, man, because we talk to each other differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we listen to each other differently.
Right.
And we understand each other the same. We understand each other right away. So it's not like, what are you talking about? What's that?
Right.
So you don't feel uncomfortable, or you don't feel like you're talking to with somebody's head, or you this weird guy. You just vibe. You know what I mean? He know the vibe.
Yeah.
You know what's up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What's the most frustrating thing about being a creative, in particular, a painter?
I'm gonna say it's frustrating. Like Dawood used to always say, "What's all this hard? It's challenging." So I think the most frustrating thing, which is not really frustrating, is being better in your head than you are your capabilities. Right? Your capabilities don't match with what you're thinking sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. That's what's up. Yeah.
That's just a matter of practice, timing, and sometimes you may never really catch it. You know what I mean? You may never get to where you think. But the thing is accepting where you are. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it really is. I mean, because like I still know people that, hey man, such and such is real good, and then they go all into what such and such is about. And I'm like, that's fine, but you're only you. You know what I mean? It's like you only you, and you only can deal with the tools that you have. So you gotta figure out a way to be comfortable with that and know you're doing the best you can. Like, I'm not the best painter on the planet. I don't have to be, and I don't act like I'm ever going to be. But what I figured out is, I know enough to make the paintings I want to make. And then I'm going to keep on trying to develop and get further. But right now, I put in enough work to make it work. You know what I mean? And that's why I say it's not really frustration. It's just a matter of how kind you're going to be to yourself. I ain't going to allow myself to beat myself up for so much. So I ain't going to get too much frustrated like that.
I love the answer to that question. I love it so much that you have made me change the wording in it.
No.
I am now. I'm dead serious, man. I respect it. I'm gonna change frustrating to challenging.
Right.
Moving forward, you already have helped the L.O.S.T Creative Podcast grow by just being a guest, but you have definitely now played a major part in it. So with just that answer, man. That's what's up.
Put that under my plaque underneath L.O.S.T Creatives.
You got it, good brother, man. That's what's up. Like, for real, I love that answer. I couldn't have hoped for a better answer.
Yeah.
You actually already answered that when we were speaking earlier. So the next question, how does criticism, good or bad, affect your creativity?
That's another one. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I was so open, and then going to these schools, having critique walls is, I think that's the plus between like, is you going to stay in it or you're not. Now think about this, man. We had we had training like 15, 16 kids in one class, and we got to sit through wall critique, and we probably
I know.
You already know. So you sitting there, you didn't get to your turn yet. You know what I mean?
And you already like, oh my goodness.
Right. You get to your turn about your piece, but it's so much information coming in that it's a good thing, because you know people being spiteful and people that's really trying to help you.
Right.
So therefore, like at this point, say what you gotta say. I don't care what you say. You know what I mean? I don't care what you say as long as you're saying something. Like even you don't like. I remember I was at a show. I was at a fair, and the girls was right behind me whispering. It's like, oh, I don't know who's going like that. That kind of, I don't know why he put that up there. And then I leaned back. I said, you know, I'm right here. I can hear you. They was like, but I just laughed. I said, oh, it's all good. I mean, I said, you supposed to do that. You supposed to do that. But it's not offensive to me. I'm just the messenger. You know what I mean? And you can say what you want to say. So it's like somebody said, I did the Nipsey Hussle tribute thing. And, you know, my stuff like can be like caricature, and I did it on purpose. I never knew what Nipsey Hussle was about, but when I heard he passed away, I said, "Damn, that's the guy somebody was telling me about." I said, "I'm gonna do a piece, and I'm just gonna do a feeling piece." And I caught the feeling of him, and that's what I wanted. And some people loved it, but then somebody is like, "Whoever did that Nipsey Hussle piece, they need to learn how to draw." Right? I was like, yeah. I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Then they had girls on there like, "Hey girl, what you think of this?" And they was like, disgraceful, disgusting. Because they just didn't get caricature.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't get it. And it was like how they was going in on me. I said, see, you just don't know. It's not necessarily you. It's just like they don't have the knowledge.
They don't have it, yeah. So,
that's what I mean. What you gonna get mad about? You gonna get mad about somebody say you suck, or you just gonna keep it pushing? You know what I mean? So yeah. I just keep it pushing.
That's what's up. When you said that, I thought of this meme that my wife had sent me. Let me see if I remember. It says, "The good news is, not everyone is going to like your work.
Yeah.
Bad news is not everyone is going to like your work."
Yeah, true.
And I love that she sent it to me, you know, because she knew that I used to take criticism hard,
man.
And I had to learn through she helped me. Chef Jamila B, shout out to Chef Jamila B. She also helped me understand that I'm not going to say it's the only way you can get better. That's the wrong way, but it definitely plays a major part in you getting better.
your morale, right? It helped. Well,
so many reasons.
Right?
You know,
it can help you get better creatively if you listen and you really hear. That's what I mean about some people trying to help you, and then it's just the other people that talking heads. I always call them talking heads.
Yeah. You know, the constructive criticism is what we're talking about.
Constructive one is like, because sometimes like you don't even really know how to take constructive criticism if you don't really understand how to change it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I always say like a basic education is just like really fundamental for you, because people can be trying to tell you something and you're like, what are you talking about? Huh? I don't even understand how he's telling me how to change it, but I don't know how to change it. I don't know what that means. So that's one thing. Then you got the talking head that's just like, this man, I don't even know why you doing this. You suck and all this stuff. And if you sensitive, you're gonna be like, you suck, right? You're gonna think you suck because you're like, I already feel bad about myself, and you just verifying it for me that I'm not that guy, and I shouldn't be doing it. Like I had I remember my teacher, he was trying to get through to one of the students, and she was like that. She was like very defensive, and that's one of the things. Like some people, like even now, people ask you something, and I'm like, you ask me, but they ask you, and then you tell them, then they start getting defensive, and you're like, well, I'm not just trying, I'm just answering the question. And if you know, why'd you ask me?
Why'd you ask me?
Yeah, but we had a my teacher was trying to tell the student about her word. She was not trying to have it. She got defensive. I'm doing this, I'm trying to do that. He got so frustrated. He said, take this off the wall, put it under the bed.
No.
Don't ever let right. No. Let us see this again. Because that's just how mad he was, because she wasn't understanding. Like, I'm just trying to show you, just trying to help. So it can get like that, man. But that's just a maturity thing. And people not, because you're not used to somebody telling you, because you did all this work, and then here's somebody come that's going to tear down your building. Yeah, and it's up to you to rebuild it and make it better. That's all they saying to you.
So, yeah, in a nutshell.
Constructive one. That's all he's saying to you. But it's just like knowing how to take this thing, man. What you gonna do? You gonna fold, or you gonna prosper? Yep.
There you go. As a creative, if you had the time, what art form would you like to get into and become good at, or make a real focus?
Fantasy would probably be like music or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I would know how to sing. You know, I would make songs. I would know how to play a lot of instruments. The closest that I came was the drums. I would stick with that. But realistically, what I'm doing now, you had time in the day. Like I always say, if I had $1 million, if I had $1 billion, I would paint and keep learning how to paint. I wouldn't even worry about trying to sell it. I would just learn. You know what I mean? And practice all the things that I really want to practice without worrying about, well, what market want this? Or what market want that? I wouldn't care. And you know, somebody said that to me, one of my grandmother's boyfriend, and I said, how you know? Because that's exactly, he was like, Oronde, he said, if you had $1 million, you would just like wouldn't even worry about trying to paint for people. You would just be painting, be happy. I was like, damn, how'd you know that?
You know that?
I said, exactly, I would. You know, I would just do that. But here we are. We got a chance to make money from off of it, so that's always cool. But it's a whole different thing if you don't have to do it, but you want to do it. You want to do it. Yeah. You imagine the things you would create. You know what I'm saying? If it was just abundance of like everything was paid for, and that's all you was just like, hey, I'm just doing this because I want to try this. You know, what would your art look like? That's
a serious question.
Right.
Yeah.
Man.
How does being a Black creative affect your work, or does being a Black creative affect your work and the promotion of it?
I mean, it can be. The sad part is people box you regardless, and you just that's my whole thing about the $1 million thing, right? So they're gonna put you in the box regardless. Somebody said, "What kind of art did you make?" It was like me and these two girls, and somebody said, "What you do?" I said, "Well, I'm an artist." And the girl said, "What kind of art?" And the other girl said, "Black art, girl." You know, right? I didn't give me a chance to answer. He make the black art. What you talking about? And I said, "Oh." So,
there we go.
You know, you obviously that's a part of that. I mean, people are going to do that for you.
Yeah.
But, I just try to be authentic as possible, because what I noticed, you know, you get like a lot of different races just really liking the authentic you. You can mess yourself up by thinking like, well, I'm only going to do this for this kind.
Right.
But by just trying to just do the work what you want, let the chips fall where they may. That's the success I've been having when I'm noticing like, oh wow, man, you know, I almost play myself by thinking like, this is for them and this is for them. You know what I mean? So it's just best favor just to do what you do. You know, because even if you try to start, oh, I need to add more of these people in here. But if you're not really around these people a lot, it's going to show in your work. Like, that's not authentic. We don't do that. That's not how we, you know what I mean? That's not how we. So just do what you know.
Just do what you know.
It's sad because it's blacks. I think I'll talk to a lot of my friends and I'm like, we the only ones that got to explain ourselves through our culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not the case for them. They don't have to say, hey, why no black people in your paintings?
Right.
You know?
Right.
They don't have to do that.
Nope.
So, you know.
Yep. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I remember Toni Morrison, she was being interviewed, and the interviewer, same thing. She, just like, why don't you write about, are you ever going to write about white people?
Yeah.
And she was just like, she said, well, first of all, I have. And she said, but secondly, would you don't ever ask a white writer, why didn't he write about black people?
They never do that.
You know what I'm saying? Why, they get to, I'm paraphrasing, but anyway, that's, that's what she was, and it's, and it's just, it is what it is, man. So part of being a black creative, part of being black.
That's just that's the thing. It's just like I don't really look at it any kind of way. It's just like, it's so predictable. The world to me, in a lot of ways, is just such a predictable place. So people act like they shocked that something went down. It's like, dude, it's been going down.
It's been going down. Yeah,
it's like it's
been going down. I mean, there's going to be a new variation.
Yeah,
but this ain't nothing new.
Yeah, so you just, I think that's even better because you already know what's about to happen, so you could just move. You can move freely and just do what you need to do.
Yep.
Somebody's gonna say, "Hey, man, I was at the Art Expo in New York, and he tried to play it smoothly and try to call everybody out." This white guy, he walked and he said, "Man, I want to see some Western European," like you say, paraphrasing because I forget exactly what he said, but he was like, "I want to see some Western European art." He said, "The white people, they do this kind of thing." He said, "The brothers, they always doing this, and such and such, they do this. Where's the such and such art?" So it's like, dude, what are we supposed to do? You know what I mean? We only working with what we have, what we know. So, yeah.
To be young, gifted, and black.
Yeah.
What are you most thankful for as it relates to your creative journey?
That I stuck with it. This is my 30th year since I took that class with Daoud. We still tight. And I remember back in the day when I started the journey part of it. I was like, man, because I was going to classes before that. Like I was more College of Art, this class, that class, but nothing was sticking. And I just said, man, I just hope I stick with this and give it a go. And here I am 30 years later, and I'm still doing it, right? And people ask, you still doing your art? And you understand that question because so many people, they start something, they quit.
Yeah.
They go on to the next thing.
So, especially us. We'll yeah. It's true, man. It's true. So now this the last segment where I want to I title Taking It to the Gut, GUT, which stands for Giving Up the Tangibles. This is the resource questions, to help aspiring creatives. What should creatives in your specific space, painters, do to get better?
Glad you asked, man. It's so much. For one thing, what I would do, I would join those clubs like the Sketch Club. Anybody that has like an open live model club with anatomy, like in New York, Society Illustrators have something like every Wednesday. I don't know what day, but you can look online. Anything that you can go and do some live drawings around other creatives, that's always a plus. Got so much abundance things that we didn't have. But I can't even say that because we had a lot that I was doing, like far as Art Institute. Our institute was 4 hours. And then after that, I would go to Fleischer's Art Memorial for a couple more hours to do some live drawing. So that's always good. And go to the museums to find out like how things are being how what kind of art is being put in the museums and how you can get into museums. All this stuff kind of matters if that's what you want to do, like knowing like what you need to do to get in. Man, with this online thing, it's like you can't lose. It's like information is here. Information was there when I was doing it through books and just having regular websites and stuff like that. But right now, it's like you just don't have an excuse because you can find the information.
Okay. And then what should they do to best promote their work or promote themselves?
Old school with them cards and stuff like that, like old school and the new school combined, you can't lose, man. We just did a show 2 years ago, the Art of Oronde Kairi. Me and my partner Chuck, we found the space. We did the guerrilla tactics, make flyers, put the flyers on the poles outside, get on the line, promote. I mean, once again, man, there's no way you can lose these days, man. You can win. Everything is a win-win. You just got to put the work in.
Put the work in.
Let the chips fall where they may. But, dude, you can just by social media alone, you don't even have to have 100,000 followers, all that stuff. You only really probably need 50. Right? You know what I mean? So if you have 100,000, you really cooking. So if you have like 100 followers, because you're doing the math, right? So they ain't gonna let you see but so many. So you got that, but the street team is undefeated, man. You got to stop thinking everything is online and still it's a real world out here. You know what I mean? With these scan codes, what they call it, the
the QR codes.
QR codes, man. You got a QR code, man. You could dominate the world by yourself.
Right.
But just be interested when they get to your QR code, and when you have all your information, get them. You know, this is just like a perfect time to be on Earth. Man, you know.
I tell you, man, perspective is everything.
Yeah,
it really, really is. So, Oronde, what I would like for you to do right now is please take this time to provide, your social media handles that you care to give, emails, websites, whatever, best way to get in contact with you. Take this time for everybody listening and watching, to hook us up. Go ahead.
Okay. Socials, Old School Social is the official website, OrondeKairi.com. That's where I really would like people to go on that more than the regular socials. Like, I have a blog, I have merchandise, I have the inventory that you like of me that you can purchase from there. Online, social media is Oronde Kairi. You'll see my icon with the little black paint man. That's the official social media Instagram page. Facebook is Oronde Kairi Johnson. TikTok, I think I'm on TikTok is Oronde Kairi. I'm not using that much, not saying I won't in the future, but I'm on there. But the main two is just the OrondeKairi.com, and the Instagram Oronde Kairi. My physical studio is 5231 Germantown. DM me if you want to come for a visit, so we can be on the same page with that. Like, if you're in the Philadelphia area and you want me to meet you at the studio, just DM me, and we'll make that work. And,
okay.
Let me see. Basically, at that point, that's it. I'll be back on Artsy with my original pieces. Like, people who want to buy original stuff online, they have Artsy. I'll be back in that in January. Got a show in May for my 50th at Urban Art Gallery in West Philly. I'll be posting about that soon. With Brassworks Gallery. I'm an artist there. They're in Portland, Oregon. So they brassworkgallery.com. And that's basically it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's what's up. Thank you for letting us know that. I very much hope that show in May is a really good turnout for you. Good brother Oronde, thank you very much, man, for taking this time with me. This was an excellent interview. Like I said, this is just great for me because the journeys that I hear, they just get better and better. I really, your perspective was on point, man. It was your perspective was on point. It was as creative and as unique as your art, man. And I loved it. I'm so glad that I was able to get it. And, you was able to share it. I know you got a busy schedule, so I'm always appreciative of anyone who takes the time to be here on the L.O.S.T Creative Podcast. So thank you very much, good brother.
Oh, thanks, man. And one more thing. That's why I wanted to do it. And I'm glad you was able to reschedule with me, because I wanted to be up and awake. Right. And I figured, I said, oh, no, this is going to be good, man. I could tell. So I'm glad we was able to connect. Yeah,
man. Me too, man. This was up. It's, just like we said earlier, and we've already stated it, this is great. We need this and it's always good when we have it, when as creatives we can get together, and just hear each other, talk with each other, learn from each other. And then on top of that, especially when, you can get with another Black creative, because the relativity is strong, man. And it's one of the best things, or one of the best ways, I can think about spending my time. So once again, excuse me. Once again, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. When I later on, I don't know how far down the line, but I'm definitely going to be doing like a repass with creatives that I've already interviewed. Because once again, to see, hey, where's the journey at now? You know what I'm saying? And I will most certainly be reaching back out to you, good brother, because this was great. I loved every minute of it, man.
Brother Muhammad, thank you, brother.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Philadelphia, PA's own Oronde Kairi, the artist. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, all creatives, Black and brown out there who were listening, who were tuning in. Always appreciative. Please continue to, listen, download, like, and subscribe, because the episodes are going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to have more guests, and we're going to continue to be able to share, our creative journeys with you. So please always remember, know you are a creative, and tell me your story.
Peace.